Charlie Jordan. I'm the practice area leader for Retiring Well here at Brightworth, and I want to thank you for joining us for the Retiring Well Book Club. I have a special guest with us today, my very own partner, Lisa Brown.
Hi, Charlie.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so glad to have you. Well, other than just being my partner here at Brightworth, she's also the practice area leader for our corporate professionals and executives here at Brightworth. But I'm talking to her today as author Lisa Brown, and our book for the fourth quarter for the Retiring Well Book Club is her first book, Girl Talk, Money Talk, The Smart Girl's Guide to Money After College. Now, as you know, Retiring Well is for people who are nearing or in retirement, so let's go ahead and get the elephant out of the room. We're talking about a book for ladies after college. Why would this audience be interested in this particular book?
That's right. So one of the things I found over the years, Charlie, is a lot of young women tend to look towards mom and dad or grandma and grandpa for financial advice. And this is something that a lot of my clients, have experienced as well. And so sometimes they forward questions to me that their children are asking them financially. So this is a really great gift to give to your daughter, your granddaughter, niece, who's just starting out in life, just entering the real world and having these big decisions that they need to make in their life, and money's going to impact them.
Right. Well, at Retiring Well, we talk about family being one of the main elements that when you talk about what people most care about and what matters most to them, family is usually the top of the list. And so I would think that this would be a great book for anyone to give to their daughter or granddaughter who fits this particular age. What inspired you to make this your first book?
Several years ago, I found myself getting a string of pretty consistent phone calls from women who got my name from somebody, they needed financial advice, and they would call me up and share their story, which went like this. Recently divorced, recently widowed, I have this pile of money, I have no idea what to do with it. And there's a couple consistent themes I was seeing that were disturbing to me. One was these women were paralyzed to make any decision with their money. They were scared. And their experience that they had growing up was that daddy took care of the money, and then they got married and husband took care of the money. So they simply had never been responsible for taking care of the money, didn't feel like they had even a basic financial education. And so because they felt insecure to make money decisions, they were paralyzed from moving forward with their financial life. And so I was really frustrated by that. But then I had an epiphany one day and I said, instead of being frustrated by this, I'm going to do something about it. And so that's when I started on the journey of writing a book for women, for young women. And I actually started my manuscript with advice for young girls as early as age 13, thinking, that's when a lot of kids get their first job, whether it's mowing lawns or babysitting or lifeguarding or whatnot. But as I went through the process of writing this book, I realized that some of the biggest life moments you go through happen right after college. And so I narrowed my focus to women in those life experiences in their 20s and 30s. And this consists of things like getting your first job, getting your first apartment, buying your first car. And then as you're moving on through the decade or two, you're getting married, first mortgage, first house, first baby. And so as you know, there's so many financial decisions that go along with those big life events.
Absolutely.
And that's where I focus in this book.
Wow. As the dad of 3 girls, I certainly have a interest in them not experiencing that first story, but experiencing that empowerment that you're talking about in this book. What can people who read this book expect to find?
So they can find everything from how to develop your first budget, what a W-9 tax form is that you need to fill out when you get your first job. What's a 401k? Should I be putting money into a Roth IRA? How much life insurance do I need, especially if I become a mom? Should I quit my job when I become a mom? And what sort of life and financial implications could that have for me personally how would that impact my future career options
Right.
if I make that big decision? How much mortgage can I afford?
So this is a very practical book.
Very practical
Right,
book. And
right.
again, those first big life events you go through in your 20s and 30s, they all have financial implications. And if you can make good decisions with your money early in life, you can set yourself up for financial security later in life. You can also just have more peace with your life, your lifestyle. We all know that life, throws these curveballs
Sure.
at us, right?
Right.
And so if you have some security with your finances, it really makes going through those curveballs a whole lot easier.
That's great. That's great. Well, some of our audience may be saying, "Hey, this is awesome. I kind of wish my girls or granddaughters had this maybe a decade ago, but now they're in their 40s and 50s. What kind of resources would we be looking at for someone who has family members that are in that age range?"
In your 40s and 50s, this is where you actually start to have some money in the
Right.
bank, some real money, and you're looking at things like paying off the mortgage, sending my kids to college. I want to retire one day. And so as important as it is to make good decisions early in life with your money, now that you are in the more accumulation phase where you've got some substantial resources in the bank, this is where the decisions you make get really serious, right?
Yeah.
And so just this year, Charlie, I have released my second book.
How about that?
So this is Girl Talk, Money Talk 2.
Okay.
Financially Fit and Fabulous in your 40s and
Of course.
50s. Of
Yeah.
course. And so this takes women, again, through those life events that you experience in your 40s and 50s, in addition to, health events.
Yeah.
What happens if my spouse gets sick and, now,
Right.
he or she can't run the family, and how does that impact our future trajectory? Making sure my will's in good shape. These are those times in people's lives where they start to think about some of those
Right.
bigger, meatier decisions with their money, and then looking towards the future. Eventually, you want to get out of the workforce, you want to retire well. And so making sure you're setting yourself up for that next important phase of life.
Right.
This is what you need to be focusing on in your 40s and 50s. So the stakes are higher. And this book takes women through how to navigate the phase of life when the stakes are really high.
Awesome. Well, 2 amazing resources. I'm so proud of you as my business partner for doing it, and so thankful that these resources are out there. And just so you know, these links to purchase these will be in the description of this video, and we'll make sure that if you need a copy, we can get one to you anytime. But Lisa, thank you for just going through this with us and for being our Retiring Well Book Club Book of the Quarter.